On Thursday last week, Senate President Bukola Saraki read Buhari's letter seeking approval for Emefiele's reappointment, for which Senate on Tuesday the 14th began the screening on the renewal of his appointment. However, we have seen dissatisfaction among some individuals and civil society individuals challenging this plan. I have here with me in the studio Dr. Boniface Chizea, an economic and financial expert. Thank you for joining me in the studio.
Thank you for having me.
With respect to what's currently going on and then the president's expectation for Emefiele's reappointment, what is the ideal in this case?
Well, I think the ideal is that Emefiele has been appointed, and I would expect that confirmation would come through. It's a formality. He's been there, he's proven his mettle. And so I expect that confirmation will come through, and then we'll get down to business. So there's quite a lot to be done.
But we see that some civil society individuals have challenged this situation and asking that his nomination be revoked. What's your take on this? Do you think it's also appropriate that the Senate continues with the process?
Well, you'd expect that his appointment is going to be challenged. I mean, it's the first time since 1999 somebody's going to get a second term. So the confirmation just goes on. Emefiele, they can still prosecute Emefiele. He's not immune to prosecution,
of course.
And so it doesn't delay his confirmation. But that's the goal, to try and see they put a spanner in the works, to stop him from being confirmed. But I think they're only hiding to nothing.
All right, then, like you just rightly mentioned, this is the first time since our democracy in 1999 that a governor is being nominated for a second term. Do you think are there other reasons accrued to his renomination by the president?
You don't fight with success. Emefiele went through hell. We live in this environment. I've tracked developments in central bank since he got into that position, and it's by God's grace that he's where he is. And we paid for his blood, crucify him, and so on and so forth. When we got into recession in 2016, and so that he's still there, and then he's done marvelously well. God helping him. The results are there to speak for him. And so that I did a memo, to the president, in which I did caution that one of the things we needed to avoid, because he's in a hurry, he needs to leave a legacy. One of the things he needed to avoid is to make sure that there are no disruptions. And so by the time you begin to put another person there, and then the person comes and begins to experiment, because the person wouldn't inherit what is there and continue with it. And so we did say so, and he listened. I was the kudos to the president in the sense that what he's done, we should give him some credit. It's not easy because he gave up an opportunity. He inherited Emefiele and going to continue with Emefiele, and that's quite a sacrifice.
What does this tell the international community at this point? Well,
it tells them that the economy is healing and we're headed in the right direction. The indices are looking up, and then we are very concerned about the economy. And this president is concerned about this legacy, and they should look forward, hopefully, optimistically, to his second term. We expect that things, will look a lot more better than they've been. We expect that better decisions will be taken, that we'll find the political will to take decisions, that even where things that we weren't able to touch because he was afraid of a second term, he should be able to touch them. He already started. He already said that it's time to address physical federalism. I will be crying about this. All the talk about decentralization and so on is all because we want physical federalism. We don't have it. So we have it in name, but we operate a unitary system.
All right, so are we looking, what do you think that his reappointment portends for the Nigerian economy moving forward?
It's going to do a lot for us because, first of all, we have stability. There was a time in this country, we woke up every day, we're saying what's the rate of exchange? And now we go to sleep, no matter what it is, nobody talks about that again. So we have stability, let's build on that. We don't want this situation, that's what we preach against, whereby you go back to where we begin to say, what is the rate today, what is it yesterday, what has it been, and so on and so forth. It's not good for the businessman. The businessman that wants to do business, if you're in his shoes, he wants stability. He wants stability so that he's able to predict. So if I'm going on this circle of business, and I'm going to sell, and I'm going to buy again, and I'm able to calculate, so what sort of profit I'm going to make.
Yes.
So I think that's very important. So we have that, and we are building on it, and I think we are all very optimistic about
so
the future.
It kind of helps with future projection for the average businessman.
Of course it does. You know, it gives certainty, and then we can build on. And with respect also that we begin to add on, build on the foundation which we have now. So we'll build on it so that the economy will grow. If you notice, the growth sector in this economy is unemployment.
Yes.
And that's why you find that you have all these social issues of kidnap and so on and so forth. That now that's a sector that is growing, which we don't want to continue.
All right. So we're talking. Now we're saying, or you are saying, that he's been able to help, stabilize our economy somewhat. But then, do you think he has done enough to make us more competitive on the global front?
Yes, we are. We are competitive on the global front. Well, to the extent that we're in competition, one of the things that makes it competitive, the other issues, it's not just exchange rates and interest rates and so on and so forth. I mean, there are issues like if you take power. For instance, if I'm coming to Nigeria to invest and I'm going to another place to invest, and I'm thinking of, you see, the power, the situation has been unfortunate. That is part of all the expectations upon power, the expenditure, the privatization, we introduced the private capital and so on, and we see where we are. So, and some of this is infrastructure gap, security and so on and so forth, the values we bring to the table as we do business. Now, these are issues, so corruption has a cost attached to it. So, and so those are some of the issues. So when you talk of competitiveness and being an attractive destination for investment, there are lots of other conditions that we have to go into it. So he just manages the monetary aspect. So we expect that the physical aspect will come on board.
All right, and finally, there's a speculation all around social media at this point, although still a developing, story about the governor being involved in a 500 billion naira cover-up. What's your take on this? Although still developing and investigations are going to be taking effect soon, what's your take on this?
Well, I think that mischief makers are at work. I think that you do wiretapping and so on, and you take it out of context, and then the central bank has issued a press release on this, and I made it very clear that this had to do with their financials and their auditors and so on and so forth that looked at their accounts, and there was a gaping hole, and that's what they saw, would impact on their shareholders' position, and that wasn't good for their accounts, and they were discussing how to plug these holes, and they explained. Now, this hole arose out of the fact that the central bank had to give accommodation to the state governments. When we got into this recession, state governments were not able to pay salaries. And it's on record that the president did give one tranche and gave a second tranche, and that they given over 690 billion naira to the states, and they gave them 2 years moratorium at 9% to pay. So that's what it is. And of course, they say anything. I just say that shouldn't affect confirmation. So if Emefiele is found, they should do investigation and so on. And if it's found to be wanting in any way, they should prosecute him. That's what you say. But the attempt to stop confirmation, we think that God has said no, and we say no to that too.
All right, thank you very much for joining me in the studio.
Thank you for having me.
And that's all on Business News.